And we're going to call open the meeting. Well, we always acknowledge the territory that we're in. This territory is the customary and traditional land of the Moosonee people since time immemorial. We acknowledge the sacred land on which the town of Moosonee operates within the lands protected by the James Bay Treaty, Treaty Number 9. We are grateful to have this opportunity to make decisions at this table that will impact our community, Miigwech. And with that, I will ask Baldwin to give the preamble.
For transparency, I'd like to remind all participants and attendees that this meeting will be recorded in accordance with the municipality procedures. In the event of emergency, please exit quietly this room and use the meeting.
Thank you. And with that, we will open the meeting with a resolution. First resolution of 2026. And wish everybody the best for 2026. And thanks for coming for the first meeting. We have the full board here. The resolution 2026-001. Be it resolved that this regular council meeting come to order at 6:03 p.m. Present. Mayor Tekla, Councilor Ryder, Councilor Dozier, Councilor Hunter, and Councilor McAfee. Could I have a mover, please? Carmen Dozier moves this resolution. Seconder, please. Damien McAfee seconds it. Any discussion on opening? If not, all in favor. Opposed, this motion has been carried. All right, we will pass on to Baldwin to do the review of the agenda, please.
Resolution 2026, number 2026-002, be it resolved that the agenda be accepted as presented/amended.
Can I have a mover, please? Susan moves the seconder, Diane Ryder. Moved by Susan Hunter, seconded by Diane Ryder. Are there any changes to the agenda? Don't see any, so we'll accept it as presented. No further discussion? All in favor? Opposed, carried. This motion has been carried. Pecuniary interest. If there are any pecuniary interest to disclose, feel free to do so at any time during the meeting or before the meeting starts here. Again, it's your choice. We can't tell you have a conflict or a disclosure or pecuniary interest. That's up to you to do it yourself.
I think I probably have to do it for that detachment board. I sit on that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's a financial, not a huge financial.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving like this.
That's under number 8.
Yeah.
First one under number 8, we will notify and time for that one. Right, we will move on to the adoption of the minutes of November 18th and December the 19th special meeting. Please, Baldwin.
Resolution 2026, number 2026-003, be it resolved that the council of the corporation of the town of Moosonee adopt the minutes of the regular meeting number 26/2025 of November 18, 2025, and a special meeting number 27/2025 on December 19, 2025 as presented/amended.
You. Can I have a mover for this resolution, please? Susan moves it, seconder. Carmen Tozer, moved by Susan Hunter, seconded by Carmen Tozer. You all had a copy of the in your package. Are there any changes to the minutes? No? Okay, so we will accept them as presented. Any further discussion? Not all in favor. Those carried. Motion has been carried. So we go down to presentation delegation. And first of all, I want to wish you best in the new year, Patrick. And thanks for being here tonight. And this is to do with our official plan, draft number 1. So I will turn it right over to you.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and Happy New Year to everyone. Wishing everyone the best for this coming year. Tonight, just here to provide an overview, we're at a critical stage in terms of timing for the official plan review, in that we're requesting council provide authorization to send draft number one or version number one to the Ministry of Municipal Affairs and Housing for their review and comments. And why that step is so important is that the ministry takes, it's supposed to be a 90-day review period for the ministry to review the first draft of the document and provide comments back. Typically, that's a longer process, so that's why it is an important step to get the draft sent off to the ministry for their review. But that doesn't necessarily mean that refinements from the town level are off the wall or off the book. There's still time to review. There's still time for council members to go through the draft documents and schedules to provide comments. There's still time for members of the public to provide those comments. So in no way is this step sending the draft number one to the ministry a final document by any means, but it's just an opportunity to keep the timeline going so we can try and get this official plan completed in the year 2026, which was the goal. So where are we? Draft number one's been prepared. Again, the purpose of tonight is to seek council direction to send the first draft to the ministry for their review and comments. Refinements can still be completed during this stage. And overall, draft number one was prepared following previous council meetings. We collect comments, and as we review planning files, and we kind of make notes in the document as we do that. So based on those individual applications or comments, tweaks have been made to the official plan document. About 2 to 3 months ago, we presented the draft background report, which summarized all the comments from the various provincial ministries, and those comments have been implemented in draft number one as well. And then also we've taken back some of the feedback that was received at previous open houses from members of the public at those meetings. And that was the major theme out of those meetings, of course, were to do with housing shortages or availability in the town itself. So that's where we're at. The draft one's been prepared, it's been circulated, and all are welcome to provide comments on that draft as we go through the process.
Okay, thank you.
The
Great,
current,
Patrick.
yep, sorry, just I just prepared a few slides. I'm not going to go through the whole document by any means. Again, I encourage all the council members to go through the document and provide any comments through Victoria or Boblin or directly to myself. But just in summary of where we are, your official plan was outdated, so we've updated that. Official plan is policy direction. So whether we're dealing with Planning Act applications or public works projects, all decisions of council should conform to this document. So that's why it's so important. And in terms of provincial, I talk about what policies need to be included in the plan. Policies in legislation of the Ontario Planning Act, the growth plan for the Northern Ontario has to be included in reference, and then the provincial planning statement, which was approved in 2024. So those are the must-have policies in your plan. What does the PPS, the provincial planning statement, say? It says the town site should be this focus for growth and development, which is your town site. So you want a mix of development to occur within those areas, commercial, institutional, residential, industrial. That's all encouraged within the town site boundary. It promotes different housing types as there's continued shortages. We want a variety of housing types, and we want to use this policy document to kind of promote that in any way we can. And then not really applicable to the town site, but surrounding areas, there's wetlands and natural hazards and things like that. Well, you have the river itself as a natural hazard, but the PPS has policies on how to protect features such as wetlands and things like that. So in terms of overall updates, the new policies of the PPS have been embedded in the new official plan, as well as any comments received from the agencies. What also you may notice in the mapping, we added 2 new designations, an airport designation and a hospital designation. We feel those 2 areas, those 2 developments are important enough to have a separate designation in the plan and its own policy framework because it is such an economic driver for the town itself. Some of the mapping was maintained. We're looking for new floodplain information. I know some background has been provided on how those the flood mapping was established previously on the schedule. So we are seeking ministry data and other data that may be available to refine those. But as far as the first draft goes, that mapping has been maintained. And I don't want to say it was a complete rewrite of the plan. There's a track changes version which shows all the changes that were made, but the plan was well structured, the existing plan. We thought many of the designations were pretty permissive in what uses are permitted, and that's what we want. The official plan, we don't want it necessarily to be a barrier for future development and whatnot, but there are policies that have to be implemented and to ensure there's land use compatibility amongst land uses, for example. And then just the last major point, the future development designation has been added. And this is just to earmark a potential expansion to the town site as development pressures grow as a result of the hospital and other projects in the town, and just availability of land being key to do that and expand the area. This is, I just included two schedules for council review today. This is the first schedule, Schedule A, and I recall at one of the first meetings, I was asked, where's the boundary of the town, the legal boundary? So the dotted boundary is technically the legal boundary of the town, which includes those historic townships. And then the town site is in gray, and then there's the area along Quarry Road, of course, to the south. So that's all been referenced here, and that is the legal boundary of the town that we received from the ministry as part of the official plan review process. This is Schedule B, and this is the main schedule that we refer to on a daily basis in terms of establishing the different designations within the town. This is how it looks in the plan, and just as for a zoomed in version. So as you can see, the airport designation is on the north. It's cut off on this picture just because it's zoomed in, but it is there. And then, of course, the hospital designation has been added to reflect those lands. We changed the community designation was the previous community core. We changed it just to the community designation because we were dealing with situations where properties were being redesignated that weren't necessarily in that geographic area. So we just thought that was a better name for it. And then the residential is kind of central to the town. And then, of course, the industrial area, which was the transportation designation previously. So there weren't many changes to the boundaries of these sites. If council has any specific properties they'd like to be changed through the review, we intend to send these maps in a hard copy to the office so that they can be left on your tables. And when you come in, you can take a look at them to make sure they're all accurate and whatnot. So really, just in summary, the community designation is your mixed use designation, where institutional, commercial, and residential uses are permitted. Residential designation speaks for itself. And then the industrial designation is those kind of high order uses where you want further setbacks between uses and mostly to do with the railway and whatnot. So just in way of summary, again, I know these are just a couple slides to kind of guide you, but we do encourage council members to take a look at the draft documents that have been prepared and provide written comments. Happy to answer questions tonight as well. But next steps, again, seeking direction to send it to the ministry for review and comments. We need to engage with Indigenous communities within the area now that this draft's prepared. There'll be additional public open houses and public meetings in 2026 that will be scheduled. And again, the overall focus of this is not to be a deterrent to future development, but to ensure that it's evaluated properly. So the importance of this from the land use perspective, again, is if someone's changing the zoning on the property, it needs to conform to your official plan. So these policies are essentially what guides land use changes in the future for the town for the next potentially 20 years. The documents are supposed to be updated every 10, so that's where we're at. And then again, everyone, public, staff, members of council are encouraged to make recommendations on that draft document. So I'll leave it to you, Mr. Mayor. That concludes my presentation. If there's any questions, happy to answer them.
Thank you. Again, we had that provided to us and I went through quite a bit of it. I was glad to see the hospital zone and again, the airport, because it wasn't before, so that might give us more leverage on things. All right, so with that, I will go to Councilor John Davis. Go ahead.
Just a Looking at the town site map, the Schedule B, I noticed that, there's crown land within that town site.
Yeah, the future development area, the yellow area.
So that's so this is the proposed town site, or is this the actual current town site?
No, that's so basically because we're in the process of trying to obtain land from M&R. It just made sense to include it now.
Okay, all right.
Because then you'd have to do a big amendment later and everything else, but this is kind of like the targeted area, the yellow is. It is the crown land for future development that we're trying to obtain.
Okay.
Yeah, and just further to that, like ideally, that process could be complete by the time the official plan's done, and that's set in stone. So until that time, we're just identifying the future development designation that if it were to occur after the fact, it could be updated through an amendment afterwards. But as Victoria said, we're working with the ministry trying to get that process completed.
Thank you.
Councilor Ryder, any questions?
I guess my only question is, with the, again, it's still in the works or whatever, if it's gonna happen or not, but with the, treaty land entitlement, does that reflect into the official plan at some point, or it doesn't?
Well, I can answer that if you want, Patrick.
Sure, yeah.
Um, So basically, in our negotiation with M&R for the Crown land, we don't actually have a map of where the treaty land entitlement claims are. So, but they do, and then any land we apply for, they'll let us know if it's available or not for us to try to obtain. So there was a few sections, like originally when we went to them, that there was a land claim on. And we didn't include those sections. But the area that we have, that he's now included and identified, this is our new map that we're sending to them, so then they can let us know if there's any land entitlements in the new area that we've identified. Some of it we know, there isn't any for sure, because part of it was in the original ask. And then M&R actually suggested to us to just go for like the whole top of the town, basically. Because the land entitlement was some other places, that they already told us wasn't available, that we already asked for. So hopefully, like probably within the next month or so, they'll let us know if that land that we're applied for is all available. But we can always adjust our ask to be outside of that. And then also just to let you know, at Roma, we did get a delegation with IAFNR. So, and that's regarding the treaty land entitlement. So we're gonna get an update directly from them about the progress of it and timelines, and part of that is to help us to identify areas for growth in town.
We have met with Indigenous affairs before on, when their TLEs out there. Just because there's a TLE out there, doesn't mean that we can't apply or negotiate or anything. Just, that they are interested in that area.
Yeah.
To be in consultation with them.
Yeah, I think there's an option where they can choose to remove it. They can, like, if we say wanted a specific area and we went to them and we said, hey, we're really targeting this area for growth for these reasons. You know, if they were open to that, they could actually go back to the government and say, okay, we're gonna take our claim off of this land. But we haven't gotten that far, in terms of, I mean, we've kind of just went for other land, instead of trying to necessarily negotiate, but, that is something that could happen.
Anything else, Councilor?
No, that was it.
Councilor, Nagady?
I don't have any questions for today.
Councilor Susan? I don't have any, questions, but I just have I guess it is a question. What happens if we go into lame duck? What happens in this process with the elections coming up?
Yeah, good question, and that's often the challenge of some of these projects that take a long time to deal with, and that's in terms of provincial timelines and legislation and things like that. It depends on what, like different municipalities. I've seen decisions on official plans and zoning bylaws still made during lame duck. Only financial decisions are delayed, so it really depends on what your protocol or procedures or policies are.
Great, so we'll basically still continue, the information getting out there, people putting in that.
Yeah, because you guys have like already committed the funds and committed to the project. before you were lame duck, so.
Okay, no, that was the only one I was wondering about, the elections coming up this year, it's quite different. All right, well, then no other questions of staff for Patrick?
I just think, we did have a number of meetings with ministry already. It was quite a long meeting. Hey, Patrick, what was it, 4 hours? I don't even know, it's a long meeting. But we were able to have conversations with all different ministries and they were able to provide input to us. And it's obviously a very lengthy process, but a lot goes into it. And I just wanted to acknowledge Patrick's work on the official plan. So anyways, thank you for that and looking forward to getting it done.
No, it's fine, yeah. Okay, I guess, that Patrick had asked us in this, and I guess, I don't know if we need to have a resolution on it or just a consensus, but he asked if it's okay to send a draft to municipal affairs and housing. What's the council want to do on that? Just give them a verbal, go ahead on it, or?
That's part of the process, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, we have to,
Move to-
do we need a motion or can we just do verbal consent?
I think you don't need a motion if you guys are good with him saying it's part of the process.
Yeah.
That's just discussion.
There's nothing official, like it's a draft.
Or so
So we
Counselor,
go first.
right, you're okay with them to send a draft to municipal affairs? Counselor Tozer?
Yeah.
Counselor Fabian? Counselor Susan? Yeah, so mine, okay, Patrick, let's, go ahead. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody.
Yeah, clear. All right, so we'll go down to reports and memos. Keeping moving, purchasing
I
assignment.
guess you can go, Patrick, thank you.
Thanks, Patrick.
Have a great night.
They,
Alright. Resolution 2026, number 2026 dash 204. Be it resolved that the council of the corporation of the town of Moosonee to approve the purchase of a sending unit from blank for the total cost of blank plus taxes and shipping.
All right, can I have a mover, please? Susan, seconded. Carmen, moved by Susan. Excuse me, Hunter. Second by Carmen Dozer. All right, so I guess we'll turn over to Victoria.
Yeah, I did leave it blank because we were waiting on the second quote, but because it was a bit of an emergency, I wanted to include it in the package for you guys to have a chance to look at. I did get the second quote at like 5 o'clock today. So I don't know if I'm passing around, this is the second quote, if you guys are curious about it. Basically, our standard unit that sits in the back of the pickup truck, that kind of just like, I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about, the little skinny thing and it spreads the sand. Anyways, Public Works have been using the unit for both calcium and for sand, depending on the season. The calcium does, cause damage to it through like rust and things of that nature. So unfortunately, the unit did break, right in the middle of the snowstorm, of course. So, it's been a bit hectic, but basically now the Public Works team have been going around with pickup trucks with sand and shovels, doing the intersections, which is extremely time consuming and not a good use of our resources. So, we wanted to get this in front of you right away. So we did get, the first one from CG Equipment and Sales is the cheaper one. It's also available and can be here within a week. So I'm gonna go ahead and make the recommendation that we go with CG Equipment. We do the purchase through them for the total cost of $14,125. And we are going to be looking at getting our current one repaired before the summer, and we'll just continue to use that one with the calcium. And then we'll keep this one just for sand, so that this one will have a longer lifespan for equipment, and then that way we shouldn't have to purchase another one, at least for the sand, for any number of years to come. But the calcium one may need replacing in the future, so just letting you guys know kind of what the plan is, so that we're not gonna be deteriorating my new one. Any questions?
All right, Counselor Ray, any questions?
No question.
Counselor Tozer?
no questions.
Counselor Hunter?
No question.
Counselor Knapp? All right, so what's the amount of what's?
14,125.
Let me go to your reading.
Figure out where you want it.
This is in the operating budget already?
Well, it will be in this year's operating budget, we'll build them in.
Will that come out of operating or capital?
There is an equipment line for small equipment, so if, I mean, we can put.
Thank you.
And it's from CG equipment, sales and sales. CG, sorry, CG.
Okay. What's the career name of your voice first?
It's French CG.
Sunday.
CG, yeah. Equipment, yeah.
All right, any further discussion on this? If not, all in favor? Vote carried. Leaving road to purchase animal control vehicle. Motion, please.
Resolutions 2026 number 2026-005. Be it resolved that the Council of the Corporation of the Town of Moosonee approve the purchase of a used van for animal control program in 2026 with a formal budget of 30 grand before taxes and delivered.
Come on, move. You can second it. Move by Davey and Matthew, and that's you. Hunter. Up for discussion. I get things Victoria first.
Yeah, sure. So as you guys know, we got our animal control program up and running in, last year, which is great. And animal control officer has been doing, a great job building up the program. And obviously, we've just been trying to get everything off the ground and getting things organized. We have done some upgrades. We've got the driveway and all the area graded. We put in a garbage box. We've gotten a shed. So we've been slowly chipping away at this project and getting everything done. We did have a vehicle that the animal control officer was using. Unfortunately, that vehicle has a significant engine issue. That is made worse in the wintertime. It's like a crack in the engine, and in the wintertime, it makes it so that the engine doesn't really work. Anyways, I just started discussions with the animal control officer about what would be an appropriate vehicle for her needs, instead of kind of just giving her, some leftover truck. What would be the most suitable? So it was identified that like a Sprinter style van, and I included some pictures of some examples of the type of van we would be looking at purchasing. The reason why I'm kind of asking for a budget instead of bringing you guys, say, like 3 quotes and then getting you to approve it, is that with these used vans, they move quick. And with the process being what it is, by the time I brought these to you and you approved it and we moved through the process, that van may not even be available anymore. So that's why I've kind of set it up this way, so that if you guys are okay with it, I would go ahead. I have the budget of $30,000, and I would find something within that budget to be able to purchase for the program and be able to move on it quickly, so that we can secure a suitable vehicle for the animal control officer to use. It being a van also, it's better for transporting animals, getting them in and out. We're looking for something that's all like metal or plastic in the back, so it's easy to clean. And transport, obviously, the animals and any goods or dog food or whatever he's doing. So, yeah.
Carmen, any questions?
No, I'm assuming you will build this into your
Yeah,
capital budget?
yeah. Are we going with the used one? We didn't wanna, it wouldn't be like $60,000-$70,000, and we think a used one would probably be, suitable, probably would last a long time, especially given there's no salt here and things of that nature, and all the kilometers going on it, so.
Susan?
No, I don't have any questions. I think it's, I was wondering because I'd never seen the truck, right? So
Yeah, it's been broken,
Yeah.
yeah,
When you
so.
explained in your preamble there, well, that was my question.
And we will be getting rid of that truck, just
Yeah.
to be clear, like, we're going to get rid of that truck. Ron has looked at it, and he's like, it's not worth the money to fix it, so we'll be getting rid of that truck then. They may even already gotten rid of it. I have to probably bring a motion for surplus, but that will be coming then.
Fabian, any?
No question.
Jan?
So this is not the van that you're going to be purchasing. This is just an example.
These are examples of vans in the price range, but this, like even when I printed this, this is probably from like, 2 months ago at this point, right? So these vans probably aren't available anymore. Which is why I'm kind of just asking for the budget so that I can just go and move on something and get something up here.
Yeah, I think it's definitely needed. She's been using her own vehicle, which is, we shouldn't be doing, but I know the circumstances around that, so, and yes, I will agree to a budget to 30,000. If there's anything that has to be more than that, then, yeah.
I feel confident we'll be able to find something in that price range, so.
That was my question I had was, would you look at this land before you purchase it, or we gotta make sure we get a warranty? Because you start salesmen up there. So I think we should, have some professional.
Well, we're going out to, I don't know. Hit up some used car lots over there.
And there's another thing that when I read this, came to my attention. You don't want to call it an animal control vehicle. It should be a town vehicle,
Yes,
because I read the bylaw enforcement, animal control, something else, because we've had that in the past. I say, no, we don't need that for animals, but we have to use it.
no, I mean, I think that would just be a town of Moosonee vehicle that we have assigned to in control.
Right, because I want to make sure we don't have that specifically stating, because we've had that in the past where vehicles out there, no use if it was the animal control vehicle. Was under the fire department, but with the animal control vehicle, we were renting vehicle, we're all protected. Make sure that's clear. All right, so no further discussion on that? All in favor? Okay. Okay, the breach note for, storage fees and vehicles, right?
Resolution 2026 number 2026-006. Be it resolved that the Council of the Corporation of the Town of Moosonee to approve the fee schedule changes or provide feedback on the schedule and direct the staff to implement and to bylaw in 2024.
Have a mover, please. David, you second? Yeah. Move like 2 minutes, second by Judy, thank you. All right, Victoria, I'll turn it over to you, please. You all got it done right now.
Basically, we started doing some bylaw enforcement pieces now that we have a part-time bylaw officer in place. One of the things that this person was tackling off the hop was getting people to remove vehicles and items from town property, which included the Quonset area, sides of roads, anywhere where people just didn't have vehicles. It's important that the town have access to their properties for operational requirements and also to have access to the roads for plowing. And I mean, as you can see with this giant snowstorm we had, if there was 100 derelict vehicles on the sides of roads, we wouldn't have been able to clear the roads properly. So she did send several letters out to people, letting them know, identified, took some pictures. We did seek legal advice on going through this process, just to cross our T's and dot our I's. So everything was done very legally and by the book and in line with policy. The one thing the policy is missing though is it doesn't actually specify what the fees are. And it does state in the policy or in the bylaw that we can charge for it, but it doesn't say how much. And we just felt that it would make staff more comfortable in enforcement if there was numbers attached to this bylaw to make it very clear what the fees are going to be, so that if members of public are coming back to us, we can say, here's the bylaw, these are the fees that have been approved by council. So I did include that. It's at the very back of this. It's just like a photocopied, a bit weird. This was a suggestion that I'm just putting up to you guys. Again, it can be whatever you want. I did look at several other municipalities and I priced us towards the lower end. It's kind of new, it's rolling out, and I just thought I would put something to you, so you have something to consider at least. And then if you guys have other numbers or something, like I'm open to whatever, I just wanted to do something to sort of chew on there, and if you guys would be open to us implementing something like this into the bylaw.
Counselor, Sabin,
No question.
Counselor Ray.
I guess, well, again, probably not to, give us time to look at it and stuff. But one thing that kind of, I'd like to kind of, or know about again is that towing. I know down south it's pretty strict with your towing. Because again, damaged vehicles, repairs, all that kind of stuff, right? So I know that that's an issue that comes up with the bigger cities with towing and towing companies to be registered and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, don't know where that is with this. But that would be one thought that I'd have is that, are we leaving ourselves open because we don't, unless we're gonna be contracting a towing company to kind of do the tows and not ourselves. So that should be something that comes into it. But I think this is the first time we're seeing this. So again, just not rushing it, but having time to look at it and see if there's any other things that we want to kind of bring forward or that we're okay with it.
Yeah, this would have been a December package too, I think. Yeah, we did have a conversation also with the lawyer about, like you said, the storage and the towing and things of that nature. So she did say that, you need some place to store the vehicles. She suggested that we put some additional language into the bylaw regarding the fees and things just to cover our butts. To make it very clear for people. But it gets a little bit more tricky when you're, because the vehicles are on our property, then she said that's a little bit more like it's less liable for us because it's on our property that we're towing them away. If we're towing vehicles that are on someone else's property, then there's a bit more to it. But she said that if there's no towing company in town, like we would be able to tow, but we just need to make sure that we have these vehicles in a secure place, I guess, is the main thing.
And where.
So we were
thought about
thinking,
that, and
yeah,
is there a
we were
cost to
thinking
that?
well, we were thinking either we're gonna clear some space out at the Kwanzaa hut. We did get our cameras in, so we could put a couple cameras up over there to keep an eye on things. But yeah, that's kind of our original thinking. Obviously the White's yard is fenced, so we could store vehicles in there, maybe make a section in the White's yard for towed vehicles and then keep it locked. Unless people are dropping things off. So that is also a consideration there, but
We did this, about 15, 20 years ago. And, actually, the OPP were with us when they towed them. And the reason we told them was we were getting charged anyways, when they plowed snow, pushing against the side of the vehicle, we were getting claims against us. So, they were using the white goods yard.
Yep.
And then they also had agreement with the OPP that they were there with us. When they escorted the tow.
the lawyer did say too, like, because we did send out a number of notices saying to remove your vehicles because of snow, maintenance and road maintenance. That if damage were to occur to someone's vehicle because of that, that we would be at a much lesser liability, because we've given ample warning that we need to maintain the roads and that they have to move their vehicles. And the people that haven't, they're putting themselves at risk. If we damage the vehicle, it's not really, they don't really have a course of action.
And we had 3 claims, one right after the other. We parked right along that road when they're green, like big stones run, pushing the green, and then damaged the side of the vehicle, so that's why we ended up moving those ones.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to remember if I've seen this. I know I've seen the yards one or that safe housing one in December, and I've seen, was another one I've seen, the procurement. I don't know if I've seen this one, but anyways, things like, I guess maybe sometime before we do this, don't think Shannon works here anymore.
Oh, well, yeah, I mean, that's just the original bylaw that I included.
It says here, no person shall park a vehicle or allow a vehicle to remain unparked on any street, highway or lane or parking lot
More than 24 hours.
over 24 hours. Does that include the airport?
Technically. Have a plan.
I thought we talked about that before.
We did think that we were looking at another parking lot. And charging a fee.
So that wouldn't be considered a municipal parking lot. That would be like an airport improvement fee parking lot.
Yeah, probably. I mean, obviously people do park their vehicles there. It is something you can work to address.
Well, I think so.
It probably should be identified in the policy so that people understand that it's, if that's the case, right? That the airport parking is exempt. It probably should indicate it in the policy, just so that.
It's like Jim said, the wrong.
Did we not last council, one of our councils, we had the thing about parking vehicles in tow. I think we went down it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we looked at, I think we needed a secure compound to put parked vehicles and that needed security. I think at that point in time, we didn't have the space that Kwanzaa had, or we didn't have the space available. And I think the cost was too prohibitive, and we didn't have, I think, a bylaw for enforcement officers, so.
The three that they gave, so the three piece of equipment, they put them in the staff on their side work for job.
I think especially given with the snowfall, removal part, it is important that we have something in place to get people to move.
Any other discussion on this? Not all in favor? Opposed? You're opposed, Dan?
Are we
gonna take a-
approving this tonight or?
You're just approving us making amendments to the bylaw, but then. they'll come back.
Oh, I thought you were
Yeah.
passing the motion. I thought the motion was.
No. I just wanted you guys to give me some feedback on what you're thinking or what your fees, and then we can put it together and then.
Oh, so we don't really need a motion for that then.
Well, we should have more than giving her direction,
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine, yeah. This isn't approved.
because otherwise we're. Okay, you know, what?
Just, let's also do standard item for now.
Carmen,
It's just the audit.
Carmen.
It's the audit.
The audit. I don't know where that is.
Done. Excellent. Next up, Mike.
Just an update on the audit, so, Shelley's been in contact with them, they were, they kind of started down a path looking for some old landfill stuff, like a month or two ago, and they were trying to get a hold of Tulloch and get some information from them, which was quite difficult, but, apparently now somebody from Tulloch, is in communication with them, is able to provide the information on the landfill that they need. Shelley said, she's like, I don't know, she wasn't sure why they're going after some of this really obscure stuff that's very, like quite old as well. But this should be it, and I mean, Shelley said that they're saying it should be done soon, so maybe by the 27th meeting, but at this point, I don't really want to be giving you guys dates.
All right, I guess we did discuss this as well, and we were talking about looking at trying to put out an RFP for a new auditing company, maybe that will light a fire in them,
Yeah, they see them.
because we've got another problem.
Yeah, because now we're gonna be going into next audit season, which is,
Yeah,
yeah, we're not even.
I think if we put an RFP out on it, so it doesn't mean we don't have to pay them. Make sure, they can consider like, they're not the only ones. If they're working for us, we're not really working for them. Right,
Yeah, 9.
okay. We'll keep that.
My fake cough.
Resolutions 2026, number 2026-007, be it resolved that the council of the corporation of the town of Moosonee supports the town of Smooth Rock Falls weighted assessment model for the OPP detachment.
Can I have a Who's the second? I guess it was, you know, I don't know, I'm really wondering about the fact that I've read,
Don't know what it means.
are we opening a can of worms?
No, no, this seems, to me, I mean, and I did speak to the lady about it on the phone as well. What's her name? Natalie. So basically, right now, we are in a police board with, Cochrane and Spring Falls. And we each pay like $5,000 towards the board. But Smooth Rock Falls is saying, well, we're a smaller municipality, it should be weighted based on our populations. So that it's not an equal share model, it'd be a weighted model. So based on population, property assessment, service demand, to provide more equitable and balanced model. So in my view, I would imagine that this would benefit the town of Moosonee. Obviously, we're much smaller than Cochrane, population wise, our property assessments would be less. The service demand may be higher in Moosonee, but I don't think that's not the only factor. So I think given all of the factors, this would probably benefit Moosonee to move to the weighted assessment model. But again, it's up to you guys if you want to move to it or not. If you don't want to move to weighted assessment, we could just keep going with the equal shares.
So right now, everybody pays $5,000
Yeah,
to put in to have this service, right?
to do the board.
The board, the three, we had a choice to pick, I don't know if you on, but a choice to pick whether we're going with Timmins or Cochrane or different ones, we took Smooth Rock and, Cochrane.
I think this is coming from Smooth Rock, obviously they're the smallest of the three,
Yeah.
and obviously Cochrane's the biggest, so it probably benefits them the most, and Cochrane the least, I would guess.
Did we talk to municipal affairs at all about this? The reason I'm saying I don't want to go into OPP too much because we don't pay the cost for OPP.
Mhm.
That was my other, and I thought I talked about that before, that we do not, pay.
You know, it's just for the board,
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's a small account.
maybe we should, like, I'm not opposed to it, but should we at least let municipal affairs housing know about it?
Yeah, I can talk to them if you
Maybe,
want.
yeah,
what they
just
say.
and see what they think. And just clear that special rate that we have.
I mean, it's gonna cost us less money, but at the same time, I'm like, so this is us agreeing, or they're looking for us to support them
Yeah.
in changing it to,
A weighted.
yeah, a weighted one, right? And so, yeah.
But it's only regarding the board, it's not.
Yeah, it's not regarding service.
I mean, anytime we deal with that. Municipal affairs, housing, always, I think they want to,
Okay.
because they're waiting, they can't, a lot of times government wants to take that back.
Yeah. Okay, well, I can talk to them about it, I don't know if it's like super urgent or,
Any question?
So this is 3 Smooth Rock, Cochrane and us,
Yeah,
and so we all pay 5,000.
yeah,
So my concern is that if we're all paying 5,000, that's $15,000.
yeah,
And that if Smooth Rock doesn't want to pay that much, then, and Cochrane's gonna pay, like, at some point, we might end up paying more.
it is it is a potential, because they're saying
Yeah.
we're gonna base it on this stuff.
Mhm.
But I mean, Cochrane is more than double the size of us, so I mean, I would imagine that it would likely more shake out to be, maybe we would be around 4,000, maybe Smooth Rock's like 2, and then Cochrane's like 12 or something. I guess. 10,
Or, yeah.
And they obviously have
And I-
to for you it, if they're not gonna.
Well, the thing is, if us two small guys probably push it, then Cochrane will probably agree, but that's why Smooth Rock is calling us and asking us to support it.
And I guess my other concern is that if we're looking at it the way it is, it looks like it's kind of floating. Like it could change from year to year, depending, right? And so we could be hit with higher fees down the road, where this way know it's 5,000 a year.
Yeah,
You know, like, we just know it's 5,000 and it's not moving unless we.
yeah.
we-
I mean, to be honest, we probably may not move that much. Like, we may be kind of around
Yeah.
5,000. Again, this, like I said, this is more so gonna benefit them and, you know, and less benefit to Cochrane.
Yeah, so do we want to touch it?
We're sort of in the middle, we're sort of in the middle. I guess it's just, we wanna help smooth out things.
That's what it is, really.
I mean, we could maybe go back and also ask them to give us like an idea of like what the impact to our town would be. Like, maybe we should say, like, can you provide numbers, what this assessment would be based on? And give us an idea.
Yeah, I would like to have something more concrete, because yeah, we could either be paying the same or paying more. And paying the same, it doesn't mean that it'll stay there because of the way it's worded. It's weighted and it's over time, right? So it could change. It's not like it's a set amount of 5,000.
Yeah.
So that would be my concerns.
I got to say one thing, this, board, I guess, Carmen's is on it, but, the police that was moved out that, they look after all northeastern, do a lot of it, they do update me on a lot of stuff that's happening. With narcotics, whether it's some of the plans that they're planning on doing. We have an idea, like the, ride program, things like that. We tried doing it in northeast, we were down. Things like that, so we never used to have that at all, and we don't get much from the old people here. But from the smooth off, I get a lot of, some more information from there. Or it's totally for them, that's smooth off, usually contact us. Right, so they are keeping us in the loop, it's a group. Did you want to table this, or did you want to?
I think we're tabling it, right? Because
Yeah.
we're
Get some more info.
We will table it until this meeting, which is,
January 27th.
January 27th.
Carmen.
April 26th, not on Saturday. Everybody in favor, it's still on.
Good, Carmen?
Yeah.
How's your time starting, Nicole? Oh, yeah. Sorry. Well, everything self, defense, section, addressing certain home invasion in Ontario, Moosonee.
Resolution 2026, number 2026-008, whereas violent home invasions have increased in several regions of Ontario, creating growing fear and frustrating among residents. And whereas Ontario homeowners increasingly believe that current self-defense laws do not provide sufficient and clear protection for individuals who lawfully defend themselves and their families during violent intrusion. And whereas rural residents often experience police response times that can exceed 30 minutes or more, leaving citizens without immediate protection when confronted with life-threatening emergencies. And whereas the absence of home invasion as a distant preventing crime and expanding appropriately. And whereas the province of Ontario has repeatedly called for strengthened homeowner protections, including considerations of capital-style provisions, and for the federal government to act. And whereas residents expect all levels of government to take decisive action to address gaps that leave families vulnerable in their own home. Now therefore be it resolved that the Corporation of the Town of Moosonee strongly supports the province of Ontario's goals of strengthened homeowner self-defense protection, including the adoptions of clear and robust castle-located provisions to ensure that law-abiding residents can protect themselves without fear of unjust persecution. Council calls for Government of Canada to immediately prioritize reform to the criminal code that strengthen and clarify the rights of homeowners who act legitimate self-defense during violent home conditions. Council demands that the federal government amend the Uniform Crime Reporting System to classify home invasion as a think criminal offense, allowing for accurate tracking, targeted enforcement, and informed public policy. Council urges the province of Ontario to take stronger action to monitor, publish, and improve police response times in rural and northern communities and to ensure that residents are not left unprotected due to resourcing shortages. Council encourages all Ontario municipalities to adopt similar resolutions to demonstrate a unified municipal voice calling for urgent reforms that protect citizens in their homes. Be it further resolved that these copies of this resolution to be forwarded the Prime Minister of Canada, the Minister of Justice, and Attorney General of Canada, the Premier of Ontario, the Attorney General of Ontario, the Solicitor General of Ontario, and the readily and all Ontario municipalities.
All right, we have a mover, please. Susan? Second. Yeah. Any discussion? We just, not going to review the laws about self-defense in home. And things again. Any questions on this? No? Okay. Family different?
This came out of that, one person that shot somebody in their house. They got charged with
Murder.
murder. But this is basically wanting just to review the laws, not make it allowable to just shoot anyone that comes into your house.
Yeah, a little crazy.
Give you a little bit more time. You can do something straight after you. If you, done somebody else will come into your house, you can be charged. Any further discussion? All in favor? On one day, we will read in bylaw. Film policy.
Resolution 2026, number 2026-009, be it resolved that the Council of the Corporation of the Town of Moosonee approves bylaw number 1/2026, being a bylaw to adopt procurement policy for the acquisitions of goods, services, and constructions, and the disposal of surplus assets, being read the first and second time within to be read the third time.
There are mover, please. Diane, Stephen, you second. You all have that copy, and go through it. Is there any, questions on the Victoria on it?
We make the change, was there a change made on the allotment, I think, of the
Your mom?
amounts?
Yes, we did this changed on, in the page number 1. Sorry. Yeah, I just checked that, but yeah, just double checked it, but we did make the change on that, and then it just, the only thing it was kept for was emergency or contracts, with approved budgets. And utilities, there's still a lot that I don't want to sign off on this regular day-to-day stuff. And then any other thing is 10,000.
Stay the same basically, but you will, except for those 18,000.
Yeah, it went up just for, again, utilities, items that are contract, approved budget items, those types of things. I got a larger sign off, but anything that's not one of those items still comes to council. And then it was also changed to 10,000 before shipping and tax. So, because sometimes like things might be 9,000 and then you add the tax and it's like 10,500 and I'm like, oh.
That's also my impressed to see that in there because we've had problems in the past where it comes over the same amount. They put on 2 invoices per thing. So that's still in there and we can't do that.
Yeah.
That would make. Are you trying to any questions?
Just, okay, so I was just looking at procurement values here. Okay. Single at the numbers here, for formal quotations from 5 to 10,000, need formal quotes for department and CAO. Is it just me, or is there a gap between 10,000 and 15,000 that isn't covered? Or am I missing something?
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Oh, you're right. It's
Well,
supposed to
you caught a
say-
loophole.
it's supposed to be a living.
Approval by council, yeah, it should say 10.
10.
Yeah, it should say 10.
10,001.
Okay.
Good catch.
It's on, 5.1, is that what you're talking about? Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So just the amendment on 5.1.
No, 6.6.
6 point, I was just
6.2
looking
with
at
the
one,
lights.
6.2. That's what I thought he was talking about.
The same.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, I see what you're saying here. Yeah.
6.2.
Yeah. 6.2,
I didn't see anything.
and then here is 6.3 also. Yeah, 6.3, okay, well, if I have to go back and take the changes then.
There's quite a few places we have.
Yeah, I saw. It's pretty much like anywhere it says 15 should actually say 10. Honestly, that's basically the change. Anywhere it says 15, it should say 10. Yeah.
Everybody happy with that?
Yeah,
Then.
Yeah.
Right, so, further discussion, we'll, vote on it, all in favor? What's carried?
how do you have to bring back one more time?
No, we'll just say with the amendment to make everything, all the 15 and 10s.
Resolution 2026 number 2026 dash 05 be it resolved that the Council of the Corporation of 2026 being followed prescribing standards of for the maintenance and occupancy of property being read the first and second time lead and to be read third time and final.
Number motion. Moving second. Chairman. Moved by Phoebe Hunter, second by Sandra Wood. Open for discussion.
So. I don't think this was, but I mean, they just sort of partly to protect us, the town, if there's a building that is in really rough shape. That if someone goes in there and gets hurt, we may be liable for that because we didn't ensure the property was secured or had structures in place to ensure that
Yeah.
that happens. And that to me makes sense. But I wonder, if when we take this on, so, what if our property standard guy goes into a home or does an inspection or says, hey, this stairwell is safe. You're all good. Because it doesn't meet the code, and it's not safe. Do we inherent, do we, someone gets hurt, are we liable because they're,
Well, it depends on like, for instance, like obviously buildings that are older were built to different code standards at the time, so obviously that's kind of simply applied. It's, it does have a lot of stuff in here just about a lot of like disrepair. So like say you are renting to a tenant and there's a hole in your stairs,
Yeah.
then this person go in and say, these stairs are clearly unsafe, there's a hole in them.
Yeah.
Someone could fall through this hole and get hurt. Well, now that person has to fix their stairs, right? But it's not more like, oh, well, you built a deck in 1992 and your railing should really be 40 inches and they're only 36 inches. It's not gonna be like that.
But I'm just asking, are we also be taking on some extra liability?
Yeah.
What this,
Well, we're not taking the liability or more so just enforcing safety. So this does give an avenue though for tenants, like there is a lot of section here about tenants.
Okay.
So tenants, in here can come to the town and say, my landlord won't replace my stove. My stove doesn't work and I have no way to cook food. Right? So we can actually issue an order saying to that landowner, like, or the homeowner, you have to give them a stove. Like you can't not have a stove.
that, I guess that's my, we certainly want to take on that responsibility or have that go to your,
Whose
Yeah.
responsibility would it be?
but,
It's the homeowner's responsibility,
but the tenants can go to,
the town.
is it the town, like right now, who would they go to?
Nobody.
They go to the,
The tenant board, they can go to the landlord tenant board.
or the, ombudsman?
Oh,
I can never pronounce that one.
why would they go to the office?
If you have a standard when you're renting people property, you have a standard that you have to meet, and if you don't, then they go with you to the, like, until your government have people to speak to that.
Oh,
There's a tribunal, right?
That's what I'm saying.
Okay, so that, I'm just wondering if
Duplicating.
we're duplicating or I certainly understand wanting properties to be safe.
yeah,
Especially like we have seen some examples of unsafe properties, right?
yes,
And it's just a matter of time. Well, I've seen kids hurt before and those are steps we're taking. But to me, that's one thing, but for a lot of this other stuff, I just want to make sure that if we put this into place and say we have a bylaw enforcement officer that will go and enforce this. Are we taking on all that liability as well?
like to fight them in court or something?
Yeah, or someone, so okay, let's go, an unsafe retaining wall.
Yeah,
It slides. Because our property standards guy didn't go over there and tell them to fix it, are we responsible for it?
I think.
Those are the kind of questions I was going through my mind. I don't know the answer.
I'm not 100% sure. I mean, maybe Gerald could answer these questions better. But my understanding, like we've had some conversations about it, is that like this is kind of a complaints-based process. The other way about it is obviously if the town notices that someone's retaining wall is falling onto the sidewalk, that obviously we can go in and enforce this. I mean, people do have other avenues like the landlord tenant board and things like that, but I mean, these boards are
3 years waiting.
2-3 years waiting time, and if I don't have a stove, I can't wait 3 years. So it gives another avenue for municipalities to be able to act more quickly, to help their residents.
So in helping, what does that mean? Like, how do we enforce? Like, what's a consequence, I guess? I mean, it's one thing enforcing, but if you don't have a consequence, you don't really have much.
Well, if
to
they
do.
don't do it, then we can do it and we charge them and we put it on their taxes.
So that's what I'm saying, we would buy the stove?
That's it.
But then we would charge them for it,
Yeah,
and
but,
we would charge them an admin fee too.
yeah, I mean, it would,
You're talking about a bigger responsibility
Yeah.
when you're doing that, right? You're saying, okay, well.
then you're also then.
No, I'm just trying to understand what.
Yes.
And I'm just, yeah, and my mind is going to, again, the, our DSAP housing. They're landlords and again, they're responsible. So I mean, are there ways there that we can go in and enforce
Yeah.
them to, with this policy?
Yeah, there would be.
Yeah, because I mean, when you think of the biggest renter in our town, it is DSAP.
Yeah.
So,
But that's the thing too, this gives us another avenue as well, where we can go to the DSAB and say, look, these tenants have complained that there's mold all through their house. Like, as a municipality, we're either, like, we may be on the hook to fix it, right?
so,
But then we'll charge them.
so TSAP has, for an example, I think they came out not too long ago saying in order to fix these houses here, how many
Maybe
million
like
dollars?
1.5 million or something.
Okay, so, which they don't have. So if we go in and start repairing these things and we build them, and they said, we don't have that money. I said, I would like more time to think
Yeah.
about this part of it.
I can ask Gerald to attend the next meeting.
Yeah. Just to clarify some of these questions, I really was, I really like the idea of being able to, keeping condemned property safe.
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to get into all the other stuff until I know
Right.
more.
Buildings and facilities
Like
that
bringing
were
everybody
already
in.
occupied or already occupied, right? I think that's two different things.
Yeah.
It's,
Yeah, that could be a lot of
Yeah,
money.
like, my readiness, example for electrical. If there's an electrical issue and brought to our attention, we can't go in and repair it. But we can bring it to electrical safety authority. Building code is the same as right here. So we would bring it to their attention. There is, governing body to the government and a landlord tenant act, the same thing works. We wouldn't actually go in, I don't think it'd do it, we could bring, but our debt would bring it to theirs.
Mhm.
but construction wise, I'm thinking, like construction wise, what do you have? Like, I mean, other than going in and taking it down and repairing it or whatever, because like when you look around the,
I mean,
these facilities and buildings, there's some.
the main idea is that basically it gives us, it gives people an avenue to file a formal complaint. And for us to begin, like, yes, it will require us to write letters to people, but I mean, ideally, like, we're not the ones doing the things. It's kind of similar to like, the enforcing the bylaw for removing vehicles around town. We send out letters and then, to be honest, 90% of the people complied. So now those cars are off our streets, we're able to maintain our roads better. Yes, there's a few that didn't, which is why we need to like beef up our bylaw a little and put some more detail into it. But, for the most part, most people will likely comply. And then that way these people can get these things done sooner. And again, it's not gonna be everything. Like, I think DSAP, for instance, they put everything into a report. And they had stuff, like window repairs, this and that. This stuff is more so just about like basic safety, right? Like it's, again, is your house full of mold? Well, that's a major issue. Is your window have a crack in it? That's not a major issue. That's not something the town's gonna get involved in. But, it kind of gives an avenue for people who rent, which is most of this community. Most people here are renters.
From DSAB, that's what
Yeah.
I'm saying, our biggest
Yeah.
landlord is DSAB, and so, yeah, when you're looking at, facilities or buildings and stuff around it, and yeah, people get add-ons and everything else.
Well, even teachers, Waha, everybody, like, those are all renters, right? They're renting from their employers. So I mean, those people are also all renters.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about the biggest ones though.
Yes.
That, our biggest renters, our landlord is DSAB in the community, right? But, I mean, you just have to go and drive around Moose Drive to kind of see that, they could be on the hook for a lot of stuff through this here. And again, do we have the ability to enforce it and, like you say, go and repair it because it is unsafe? And then, send them the bill and will you get paid? Will the town get paid?
That's the question, I suppose, but then you're dealing with government. Yeah.
So that, and do we have enough people out there to do the repairs?
Mhm.
Because right now it's challenging to find people to do the actual work. I'm not being argumentative on this.
Yeah. This would be the reality, to me, it would be the reality, because there's probably, people that, well, I know that there's people in the housing that are not happy. Because of things that are happening within their rental space, right? Their rented houses and stuff, they don't feel safe, they're not safe, and they have an avenue to put, their complaints into, but it falls on deaf ears, is what they say. DSAP just falls on deaf ears, right? So I mean, if this is another avenue to bring it in through here, and then we have to do something, then, again, are we adding stuff to our plate? I guess, is it more expenses to our plate that we want to kind of avoid? I don't know, I'm just saying that it's.
Probably be like, almost a support to DSAB too, in a way, if the town were to implement something like this and start getting involved with it to make the point even more strongly, like, hey, look at all these complaints we're receiving about housing, people are looking to the town for support. You know, like, we need to come up with a plan here between us and the province and DSAP. Yeah.
And what qualifications would this property standards officer need to have?
Well, it could be enforced by the CDO as well. So the property standards person could be the CDO, could be the bylaw officer. But again, like, she could obviously go somewhere and say, yeah, your stove doesn't work. I can clearly see that doesn't work. If it's a building issue, then that could go to the CBO. But the CBO also, and I learned this after the fact, is that, like, for instance, with the lodge burning down, is that it's actually covered in the building code. That if a property is like a hazard to the community or to passersby, such things, that can be enforced also through the Ontario Building Code. So whether we do this property standards or not, they are moving on, sending notices and letters to the owners of said property, regarding, making that particular property safe. And I know that's what kind of brought this about, was this incident and saying we need an avenue to enforce this. And, I was told that actually there is a space in the building code that can do that.
If that's the case, then at this point, would feel much more comfortable if we exercise that avenue through an existing code. As to putting this in place, I'm feeling a little bit, yeah, at this point in time, I don't know if we want to be taking on
Yeah,
it, so. But if there's a way, if we, like we, you know, those public works, not the public works, the big yellow buildings.
yes,
I know we had our staff go in and weld all the shut because bad things are happening there. And we took on that liability because we felt it was important.
right.
But if we knew there was a way of getting the building code to go after, who's it, public works? To fix that, to keep them safe, that would have been good. So I'm not convinced about this yet.
We had a couple questions about that last fire. One is there's a beam pointing out to the road.
Yeah.
Okay, and somebody said, well, skidoo going there at night on the side, under the snow, it's going to look like it's got metal on it. Going to kill, that, it's a basement. There's nothing, everything fell in the basement, oh, skidoo, or if the snow goes across and falls in, who's liable for that?
They are, yeah. But, I was told that usually what occurs after an incident like that is that the insurance company will actually come and fence the property to, mitigate their losses. Right? They'll make sure that it's secured so that no other incidents take place, right? But in this case, obviously, the insurance companies aren't available locally. Maybe they didn't, I don't know if they're made aware, if there is insurance, I don't know.
They have insurance.
Right, so I mean, those questions are all kind of unanswered, and that's not really our business, I suppose. But, I was told that that's usually what occurs, is that the insurance company of the property will come and fence it and ensure, that it's made safe, so to mitigate their liabilities.
So if there's a venue within our building code to fix, to let the owners know that, hey, make sure this property is safe. Do we utilize that?
Yes, we are doing that right now,
Okay.
yeah.
Fine.
So they needed to get, a virtual tour of the property, and then there was like that huge snowstorm. So they're like, I don't know if we're really gonna be able to see anything, but, Harry, who's our inspector, is gonna be coming back up again. I think he's coming up in a few weeks, so he said he can inspect the property then and issue an order.
And maybe we can have them go over this with us.
Yeah,
A little
that would
more
be good,
detail,
yeah.
answer any questions.
Sure. Yeah,
I need
you want to just table it then?
As you let that fence off, that cleared up right away with fire.
Yeah.
So I know there's a need, but my attention, taken out like this.
It's almost been a month.
Right?
It's almost been a month.
Yeah, and if the skidoo come with under snow now,
And I did say that to Harry, because, I did have a meeting with him, and I said, I think it's actually more unsafe now that it's covered in snow, because you can't see what's there. Because he said, well, is it safer now that it's covered in snow? And I was like, He's the opposite.
We go down and we hit a cement wall.
Yeah.
There's some. If I probably can't stop anybody up there. So what do you want? You want to table this one?
I'd like to kind of table it just because of the concern with existing occupied buildings that, and to, what is, what does that look like for us? Like more, obviously, we need more man hours to cover something like that, because again, there's probably complaints that will come in with regards to it.
Next year. All right, so a table till 27th. All in favor of that? Here's, probably standard should be. I think you can open like, you read it, could be a hole, it could be. Tanks up left open with the top, and where chicken fall in or top in, and,
Yeah, very well.
All right, so with that, we will move to an order of business. Also now, Chris, no, closed session, okay, there's one closed session.
Yeah, can you just, I'll do the one topic first and then that way, yeah.
You gotta run camera first.
Yeah.
Go to closed session. I'll put this
Do the
resolution.
motion first, yeah.
Resolution 2026 011. Be resolved that this meeting moving camera at 7:24 p.m. For personal matters about identifiable individuals, including municipal employees. And then position, plan, procedures, criteria, and instructions to be applied to negotiations. Have a mover, please. Susan, second. All right, all in favor going into closed session? Carry. Thank you, everybody, in closed session. The minutes of the closed session 14-2025 of November the 18th, 2025, as presented / amended. Could I have a mover, please? Adrian moved it. Did you second, Susan?
Yes.
All right, were there any changes? The minutes went around, I believe you were all.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right, so there's that presented. Any discussion? Are all in favor? Vote carried. This is 2026-014. Be resolved that the meeting adjourned at 10:26 p.m. Could I have a mover, please? Susan, seconder. And any discussion on adjourning? No, all in favor? Vote carried.
Thanks.
This is,